Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. Today, Bryce Simon joins the show, and we are going to break down the Detroit Pistons being on fire. So something Bryce will know very little about, I'm sure. We will talk about the LeBron return last night and where the Lakers sit in the Western Conference. We will talk about the Allstar picture in the East and the West and what these teams could look like, given that we're now going to an American versus international kind of format. And then finally, we got a fun question from a YouTube user, and I kind of wanted to talk about it at the end of the show. But first, let's hit the music.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Way downtown.
Bang! Bang! What is this going to be? Wow! Are you kidding me?
Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. But if you watch the tape, what you will see completely orchestrated this game. Bryce, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, Sam? How are you? I don't know about you, but I'm just enjoying basketball right now. The NBA seems to put out really fun games every night, no matter what. College hoops, we had the Champions Classic, which was okay. But then even we come back on Wednesday night and we get the UConn game, and then we get Alabama versus Illinois. And it's just, it's a blast. Like I have so much fun watching it on a nightly basis. And there's always an NBA draft prospect to break down over on the Substack, or a hot NBA player that's on a streak, or Derek Queen going for 30 against Jokic and the Nuggets. We get something every single night. It's amazing.
It's so good. Speaking of the Substack, GameTheorySamV.substack.com. Go hit the subscribe button over there. You will get awesome content. There are 2 videos up today. We've got Andrei Stojakovic, which Bryce did. He wanted to talk about him after the Alabama game. He had 26 in that game?
Yep.
Something like that.
Attack the paint relentlessly.
He has been doing that this year, which makes him a very intriguing prospect now. I also did a Jalen Duren breakdown. We're going to talk about the Pistons at the top. I thought it would be fun to break down Jalen Duren.
Sam, that's a little bit backwards that you did the Jalen Duren breakdown and I did the 2026 NBA draft, a little bit of a deeper cut prospect. That seems a little backwards for us.
It does, but I wanted to talk about Jalen Duren, and I specifically wanted to do the Atlanta game because Atlanta presents him with certain issues that he has shown in the past within his career, and I wanted to see where the defense is, and we'll talk about Jalen Duren in a little bit here, but full 45, 50 minutes on Jalen Duren in the Atlanta game. Really fun game to break down, and he has clearly taken a massive leap, which again, we'll talk about here momentarily. Game Theory, samv.substack.com. Videos also up this week on Debanza against UConn, on somebody else as well. I can't remember what other video I did earlier this
Kingston
week.
Flemings, who is
Kingston Flemings.
Really fun. Really fun.
Kingston
and then
Flemings in Houston. Yep.
I had the Braden Smith one that went up over the weekend. And of course, I should give some love to, I just lost it again. Connecticut played,
Arizona last
Arizona.
night.
Like, I don't want, respect to Arizona, who won the game on Wednesday night. I said the UConn game and had lost Arizona as I was going through that. Obviously, they win that game. So really big time programs playing on Wednesday night and really fun games.
Yeah, it was awesome. Game Theory, samv.substack.com. Bryce, we're going to talk about the Pistons. The most important thing that happens today, though, is that the Ashes start. Do you know what the Ashes are?
I don't know what you're saying.
So the Ashes is when England and Australia play cricket, and they play for a trophy that is, I believe that there are ashes in it from, what is it? I want to get this actually dead on right. It's an urn that holds, I can't remember exactly what the exact thing is in terms of what the ashes theoretically represents or whatever, but it's this little tiny urn that is 4 inches tall. So when the team wins, they hold up a 4-inch tall trophy, and it's amazing. I truly love every second of it. And these two teams just are polar opposites. And I don't really think they hate each other necessarily, but there will be massive, massive controversy at some point because somebody will do something against the spirit of cricket and people will melt down. It has like a golf vibe where if you do something that's like ungentlemanly or untoward, people get very haughty and up in arms. It's a beautiful, beautiful rivalry.
I'm on Wiki right now taking a look. Australia, the current holders of the Ashes from 2021, because there was a draw in 2023. The Ashes can have a draw. We don't even get a winner sometimes.
They play 5 matches and one of the matches got rained out last time. Yeah. So it was a little bit disappointing. It's the idea of the urn. The contents of the urn are reputed to be the ashes of a wooden bale, and were humorously described as the ashes of Australian cricket. It is not clear whether that tiny silver urn is the same as the small terracotta urn given to the MCC in 1927. So this thing has been going on for years upon years upon years. Like Laura and I will go to Adelaide in a month and see the Australian England teams play. We will be here and watch them in Melbourne. Like, we're excited to see this.
Love it.
Yeah. Wild stuff. I know. So shout out to the Ashes. Shout out to cricket. Let's talk about basketball though. Basketball is a beautiful sport and nobody right now is playing a more beautiful version of the sport than the Detroit Pistons. Bryce, you cover the Detroit Pistons full time on your show. Please explain to me how the Pistons have won 11 straight basketball games.
And on the Substack, by the way, you can subscribe to the Motor City Hoops Substack for free, where you get game notes after every game. Dennis Jenkins is the answer to your question, Sam. We are going to talk about Dennis Jenkins over the next 20 minutes because we have been teasing this for 10 plus days. And while I try not to take...
No, Bryce.
No, I know.
I'm using this for 6 months because we have talked about Dennis Jenkins since Summer League.
No, I know that. I'm just saying that for the last 3 episodes, we found a way, or I found a way to at least drop his name into the episode with us actually talking about how good of a basketball player he is. But yes, we have both been mentioning his name for a while after how good he looked. Listen, he came on the scene last year and I was like, who is this guy? Let me dive into it a little bit. It started with his ball screen navigation, which I thought was really impressive. Listen, the truth is he is truly part of it, but this team just kind of has a flow right now and a vibe, and they know who they are. And it really does start on the defensive end, Sam. I was talking the other day to somebody who is the negative defender in their rotation right now, even when they're hurt, Sam, even when they're injured, and they've dealt with injuries through all this. Who is the negative defender outside of Duncan Robinson on this roster right now?
Yeah, I don't know that I've got like a truly negative one. I think that there are certain circumstances where Duren is not great. I think if teams have a spacing big man, Duren particularly struggles with kind of gap control and figuring out how to get out to the shooter and playing ball screen coverage. And, he does, despite being as athletic as he is, he does lumber around somewhat. And like that will be really probably the only negative thing we say about Jalen Duren throughout the show, because he's been incredible. But like, really, it's only like circumstantial where Duren is a poor defender now. Like if another team doesn't have a spacing big, he's tremendous. He is a good defender, I would say now. If a team doesn't have a spacing big, I mean, like even Tobias Harris is fine, but Tobias is obviously
he hasn't been playing during this major portion of the stretch. Like Karras has been good defensively. We know what Stu and Asar are. I've made my pitch for Cade Cunningham as a defender when you consider he's the primary initiator and the engine of the offense. Ron Holland hasn't been as good as what I would have liked during this stretch and the whole season offensively, but defensively he does things. Listen, Paul Reed, if nothing else, Paul Reed is going to come in and he is going to disrupt the heck out of your offense. This man averages 7.3 stocks per 100 possessions. He's going to come in and do that. Javonte Green, I mentioned Dennis Jenkins. All of these guys defend, and it's led to, through all of the injuries and in and out of the lineup, the second best defensive rating in the NBA behind only the historic Oklahoma City Thunder's defense. And that's where it starts, Sam, is they are going to guard you. I think that they're disrupting teams. They're forcing more turnovers behind only the Thunder as well. So they disrupt your offensive flow. You are going to know that you played the Detroit Pistons. And then they just found enough offensively. And that's where the Jalen Duren conversation really starts is, yes, Cade is Cade, but Jalen Duren averaging almost 21 points per game is the biggest development, not only of the season for the Pistons, but quite frankly, it might be the biggest long-term development in terms of what that means for this roster and roster construction moving forward.
So I completely agree with that. I do think it starts with Cade. I think that the Jalen Duren conversation starts with Cade, though, particularly. And the only reason I say that is because, A, these guys have been playing together for 4 years now. And it's very clear, from what I understand, like they are also very close as well. Like those two human beings are very close. And it's very clear that they have developed a shorthand in terms of how they understand and operate ball screens together, right? So everybody right now, it feels like league wide to me, correct me if I'm wrong, like I can't remember the last time that a team didn't put regularly 2 on the ball or aggressively blitz Cade Cunningham ball screens, right? Like it feels like that's what everyone is doing right now.
Yeah,
does that feel correct to you?
Yeah, I mean, if they don't do it to start a game, then they do it through the middle portion of the game when he gets going or whatever. Like at some portion of the game, at some point, they were going to put 2 on Cade because, to your point, those guys' chemistry is so good. And Duren is such an elite finisher of lobs, no matter where the pass ends up, that they're going to hurt you. It's really easy to put Duncan Robinson on the weak side and run a middle ball screen with Cade and Duren and put your tag man in a really tough spot. So you're better off doubling him, blitzing him. Maybe he'll make a mistake. And then teams have been trying to force Duren to be the creator of offense out of that. And I think where you're going with this is Duren has made them pay whenever they've tried to do that this season.
It's exactly right. What I think Jalen Duren is doing best right now is twofold. So I want to start with the first thing, which is getting what I was saying before. He has become incredible at being able to take advantage of those odd man situations because he's become a lot more comfortable as a ball handler, being able to drive and finish at the rim. His footwork and his gathers are drastically better this year. There were moments last year, like I say this in the video that I did on Substack, right? There are moments last year, like Pistons fans are going to be able to pull up a couple of clips where you see Jalen Duren put the ball on the ground and be able to go to the rim and finish, right? He's now doing that like 4 times a game. It feels like it's a lot more regular. He is much more comfortable with it, and he is looking a lot more consistent in how he attacks it, in my opinion. That is a huge, huge development to me. The fact that he is just willing to put the ball on the ground, and it's no longer in situations where he is only a short roll weapon doing that, where he has an advantage. He is now just taking advantage of guys as like a delay roll or a delay like trailer from time to time, where like they will get him the ball and he's just like, oh no, I have a mismatch here. I'm going to drive downhill and I'm going to score at the rim. He's a lot more comfortable with, like, I don't want to call them advanced ball screen moves by NBA standards, but they're advanced dribble moves for a guy that is 6'10" to 6'11" with a 7'5" wingspan and is 260 pounds. Like, he has the ability now to like dribble, inside out dribble, pound dribble, get all the way to the rim, and just use his force to be able to beat you to the basket now, right? That's something that like he just did not do regularly last year, is the reality. The other thing that I think he has done, and this is the second piece of it, and I don't mean this as a slight, this is going to sound somewhat negative. I think that in the NBA, you have to take advantage of the opportunities that you get. It's a huge portion of being a great NBA player. When he feels like he is bigger or stronger or more physically capable than the opposing team, he is just going to bury them now. He feels like if I have Onyeka Okongwu or Mo Gay on me, or if I have Isaiah Jackson on me, or if I have like any number of undersized big men across the league that they've played in this 11-game win streak, he is trying to bury them at the rim now. And he is trying to put them through the basket and really enforce his will on the game. And to me, this is a guy that occasionally throughout the course of his career has been a bit more twinkle toesy in his movements. Now he's like, I understand how big and how strong and how physical I am. I am going to destroy you going to the rim. I am going to bury you and just absolutely dominate you going to the basket.
And to your point, he's going to be bigger than a lot of matchups. I realize they've gone through a stretch here where it has been like he's just the bigger, stronger, better player. But I think part of that is because he's improved and he is just bigger, stronger, more athletic than a lot of dudes he's going to play against. I am, like, as somebody that's super excited about what he's shown through 13 games, I am interested to see what it looks like against Ivica Zubac and, you know, defenders like that. And when they play the Grizzlies with Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson Jr., I am excited to see what it looks like. But right now, I don't know that I ever thought Jalen Duren would have a stretch where he was averaging 20 points a game in the way that he's doing it. If he was going to, it was going to be all like, okay, everybody has just decided they're for some reason going to force him to finish these lobs, or it's all off offensive rebounds. He's doing those things as well. He's still doing that stuff, but his ability to face up and just attack downhill, he's flashed this mid-range jumper, which would make it real tough on defenders if he hits that consistently. And I think the biggest development I've seen, having watched every minute of his NBA career, is the non-dunk finishing. You know, we knew he could dunk. We knew he could catch lobs. It's this stuff where he's using the backboard. He's showing touch. Those were things even as early as last season or recently as last season, I was having some questions about in terms of what does it look like when he can't get momentum to the rim and jump higher than you and dunk the basketball. And I feel like he's come a long way. I don't know what the numbers say, but I feel like he's done very well this season in non-dunk finishes, you know, whatever you want to say, restricted area, 5 feet and in, whatever the distance is. I feel like that's a whole lot better.
Yeah. So last season shot 57.4% on layups in half court settings. The year before, 56.4%. This season, he is at 64.6%.
There you go. So it tracks right now.
Half-court layups. So that's absolutely true, I think. The other thing here is just like, look, you can look at the numbers and this just bears it out. Like, even forget the like scouting piece of it for a second. 7.3 free throw attempts per game versus 3.1 throughout the course of his career. He has consistently been a guy who gets to the line like 3 times a game. He is now getting to the line 7 times a game. To my point, he's just trying to bury guys at the basket. And it's a huge, huge differentiating factor for him, in my opinion, as he goes forward and tries to improve his overall standing in the league. We will talk about the All-Star picture like throughout the East and Western Conference later. He absolutely figures into the All-Star picture right now in the Eastern Conference. And I will be interested to see where we kind of both fall on whether or not he ends up, you know, currently at least being in the All-Star game. As of how things stand at this specific juncture. I do want to like stop on Cade here for a second with the Pistons, because I still see the conversations where people like question the efficiency, and look, like, I got even a little bit annoyed by like the Wizards game on some level. I understand it was third game in 4 nights. I understand that it was a situation where they had everybody out. They had, you know, 4 rotation players down that game, I believe. And he really did have to do everything in that game. So like part of me is like, yeah, like, okay, it is what it is. Another part of me is like, okay, he went 13 for 45 or whatever he did. Also not great. I am kind of at the point with Cade where I think the numbers do end up being deceptive for him, because he carries such an immense load for them every single night. He has to do everything for them in terms of creation, because like we can talk about Dennis Jenkins being the second guard out there, right? Like, it's fine. It is what it is. Like, he sometimes, you know, can handle the ball and be okay. But Cade, when he plays, and he did just miss, you know, 2 or 3 games, was it? Yeah, recently? Like yeah, I can't remember if he missed
3
games.
I think it was 3. Yeah, they're 13-2. So yeah, he missed 3.
Yeah, like when Cade is out on the court, he is just dominating the ball. And it's not because it's the way he plays. It's because they don't have anybody else who can like run a ball screen and create a shot consistently by NBA standards. and because he is by far the best guy in the league to have the ball, or the best guy on this team to have the ball in his hands for. Now I'll be interested to see what happens when Jaden Ivey comes back. Can he take some of that load off of Cade? And maybe we will see an efficiency jump in some respect. But I don't know, man. Like, I just watch Cade Cunningham and I'm like, I just completely get this and I buy it. And, you know, the efficiency kind of be damned on some level. He is who he is. And he is, the thing about him is that because he's so smart and so unselfish in terms of his decision making, that I almost think that like the 9.9 assists per game often somehow like underrates his ball movement sometimes too, because he just makes the right pass at first and then they'll get hockey assists and the ball will move and constantly be in motion. Like, I don't know, like where do you fall on the Cade conversation right now? He'd be like very clearly be an all NBA guy right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best player unquestionably on the team that is number one in the Eastern Conference right now. And again, I always kind of push a little bit of a defensive narrative, but looking offensively, the 3-point percentage is the issue right now. And it's a real issue. Like, he's shooting 28%. The 3-point shooting has been a question throughout his entire NBA career. He shot 31% as a rookie. Then, he only played 12 games the next year. The next 2 years, it was right around 36%. Last year in the playoffs, he was at 18%. It was a real thing. Like, Pistons content creators like myself and others were showing the way Jalen Brunson, they would bring Brunson into the action. He would hard hedge it like Steph Curry does. Curry's always the one, because I think people probably recognize that, because they didn't want Brunson to get switched out. And after Brunson leaves, before Bridges or Anunoby were able to navigate the screen, there was this split second where Cade had the opportunity for the dribble three, and he either wouldn't take it or he wasn't making it. Well, right now he's shooting 28% on almost 7 threes per game. Sam, he's shooting as good from two as what he did last year. He's 51% from 2-pointers right now. He's shooting the most free throw attempts of his career by over 2 per game. The assists and the creation for teammates is ridiculous. Like, I do think it's underrated in terms of what he does there. Even here's the turnovers are down. Like, they're almost at 3.5 right now, which for him is a good spot. He's just not making threes. So to me, the efficiency, whether you look at effective field goal percentage, true shooting percentage, whatever metric, or just like the raw numbers, to me, it all comes down to he's not making threes right now. And I've always said this about Cade. For him to be the ultimate, like, first team all NBA guy, MVP conversation, take this team and really compete deep into the playoffs, I've always thought the 3-point jumper is what really had to be there, because he is really hard to guard all of a sudden if you have to respect the 3-point shot that much, and he can hit it off the bounce if you don't.
Yeah, no, it's 100% right. I love what Cade's done this year. And then the final guy that, maybe not the final guy, but the most important guy that we need to talk about is the rise of Dennis Jenkins, which we've like kind of alluded to here at the jump. But I mean, I love him first and foremost. Like, he just does everything right. It feels like to me when he's out on the court. Like, he's never overstepping his bounds, while also being incredibly threatening as a shooter, as a cutter, as a driver at times. He just takes what the defense gives him. Teams are, still adjusting to his presence out there, and he's skilled enough to take advantage of them leaving him open on some level.
Yeah, he gives him a level of ball handling that, like, I think some people have gone a little too far with where they think Jenkins can be. I think if I'm the Pistons, I would love to let him play that second unit kind of point guard role for a month here and see how much of this stuff can stick. But he doesn't look like the moment is too big for him, Sam. Like, that's the one thing that it stood out at Summer League. He was talking so much trash. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's Summer League. You're in the back gym at Thomas and Mack and, all of it. No, he's doing it in NBA games. He was doing it one game. They're losing. And he's like, this is just who he is. And to me, it's not fake. Like, it's just a true level of confidence that he plays with. He's been able to knock down shots for them. He's able to pressure the paint and create for others. It's just exactly kind of what they need, in my opinion, in terms of a guy coming off the bench. He doesn't need to be starting with Cade. I don't think we need to have that conversation. But you talk about a guy who maybe this team could use. It's like the Dennis Schroeder role, but if you don't have to trade for that, then, and obviously Schroeder's like way more, established of an NBA vet, right? Like, but if he can give you some resemblance of that, 10 to 15 minutes a night, maybe more in the regular season. And then I don't know what it looks like in the playoffs just because of his size, but that would be huge for this team. And I think my biggest thing is he just has taken advantage of this opportunity. It started with the 3-pointer against the Wizards to send it into overtime. And then he has just run with it from there. And he looks completely in control offensively. He's making shots right now. And then again, he's good defensively. Like he guards at the point of attack defensively.
Yeah.
There are real matchups that this team could use him for because they don't necessarily have anybody else in his kind of archetype that could chase around a smaller player that way, other than, Allstar Thompson.
Yeah, no, I truly think all of that is correct. I mean, you look at his last 6-game sample here, it's ridiculous. His last 5 games, I'm sorry, he's averaging 20 points, 4 rebounds, 7.6 assists versus 2.4 turnovers, shooting 50, 44, 80. Again, to me, it's just like the decision making. Every single time he knows what to do with the ball, and he's aggressive, but he doesn't overstep, right? Like it is super smart. It's super solid. It is exactly, I think, what they wanted from Marcus Sasser. It's just that Danis is a little bit bigger than Marcus Sasser as well. That's also helpful.
Well, and the other thing is, I think he does what they need better than what Marcus Sasser does. Like, I think Marcus Sasser fills a role for teams, but to me, Marcus Sasser is like this on-ball scorer for himself, not necessarily for others. And he doesn't seem like he's leaned into this off-the-ball role. Like, they could use that as well, right? Like, Chaz Lanier's got a lot of good looks over the last few games. He just hasn't been able to knock him down at a high rate. If Sasser was doing that, it would be a little bit different. But if we're talking about an on-ball kind of backup point guard, that's not what Sasser does, in my opinion, in terms of creating for others, kind of running the show. Danis Jenkins has come in and done exactly that. And on a team where one of the big questions is, what does the ball handling look like when Cade Cunningham isn't on the floor? Having a guy that can do it and you can be confident in provides a ton of value.
My final note on the Pistons here is just on Allstar Thompson as well. I mean, he is just a holy level defender.
Yeah.
Like, he is fantastic. I love that dude. I love watching him. He is so good on that end. Like the way that he rotates around and flies around is bonkers to me. He is unbelievable in terms of just scrambling and making plays. And also he's a great on-ball defender too. But the other thing that I notice is that because Jalen Duren has improved his ball skills, the thing you and I talked about all the time was that Ausar and Jalen Duren often felt like they were cutting and rolling into the same areas last year offensively. Detroit has gotten a lot more intentional about their spacing this year to where I don't see that happen all that often anymore. And I think that it's really, really important for their offensive spacing for those and for their future, for those two guys to be able to play together. And Duren improving his ball skills, I feel like was something we never really talked about as a potential solve for this, because it just felt like something that was less likely, I guess, than the other outcomes. But he's done it, and it's completely changed how they operate their offense in some way. And it makes it way easier to have both those guys on the court together, and thus to have 2 of your 3 best players basically on the court at the same time.
It's funny how much stuff really comes out of a playoff series. We always talk about like getting a playoff series to evaluate and data collection and all of that. And, we probably could have figured this out through the regular season last year. But what my biggest takeaway from that Knicks series was, in terms of the Duren Ausar stuff, when one of them is involved in the action, your spacing is fine. Whenever they ran a Cade Duren pick and roll ball screen, it was okay, because then Ausar he's so good on the baseline. He could cut and he could offensive rebound, he catch lobs, all of that. When they were trying to bring Jalen Brunson into the action and Duren and Ausar were both off the ball, or it was just a straight Cade isolation and they were both off the ball, it was an issue. And this is it's your point. If Jalen Duren has the ball, it's okay that Asar Thompson is spacing, quote unquote, spacing in the dunker spot. Because you know who's not there? Jalen Duren isn't in the dunker spot because he has the ball in the middle of the floor. Now, making sure you don't take it out of Cade's hands too much and all of that, but it does really help. And if Duren can even hit a mid-range jumper, Sam, even that little bit of spacing is going to help that, that combination because listen, Isaiah Stewart has been incredible defensively. And, I don't want that to get lost, but Asar Thompson is like the upside ceiling defender on this team that has like the, first team all defense level potential. With all due respect to Stu, probably never going to be eligible for it at all. But Asar's the one that I think has that high end ceiling on the defensive end.
Yeah, look, like where I'm at on the Pistons is that I think this team can win the East right now. I think they might have to make one more move at the deadline. But like people were talking about like Lowry Markkanen. Can they go get Markkanen or something? I don't think it even needs to be that big. And I think they can win the East. Yeah. Is where I'm at. Like, I think if they could go get even Michael Porter Jr. would help them.
I had that name thrown to me the other day. It was interesting. Here's the thing. All roads lead back to the same name, Sam. You got to know what Jaden Ivey is before you make a move. Because
correct.
Here's the thing. If Jaden Ivey comes back and shoots 40% from 3, I think that changes the calculation of who you need to go get.
Totally agree.
Because we've talked about this, Duncan Robinson's 3-point shooting is an underrated, vital part of this team offensively because you have no other high volume 3-point shooters, and he's a disaster defensively. At the very least, you got to go get a guy that can stay on the floor defensively come playoff time that's going to give you floor spacing. So I think you got to see what Jaden Ivey is. And if Duren can continue this and against what level competition he can do it. And then that lets you know what player you need to go acquire. But I'm with you. I don't know that it has to be the Lowry Markkanen. Jaren Jackson Jr. is always a fun name to talk about. Even, obviously it's not probably realistic. Or, Trey Murphy. I don't know that you got to swing that big.
Like Andrew Wiggins was the name I threw out on the episode a couple of weeks ago. Like I think Wiggins would really, and Wiggins has been great to start the year. And I don't know if Miami's going to even move him because of how good he's been to start the year. But his ability to stay on the court defensively, his shooting, his ability to attack closeouts, he's a valuable player, right? Like even something like that, I think would be really useful for them. Anybody else I'm trying to think of? PJ Washington was always our ideal fit. It's just that he can't be traded in season, so he's not eligible. But yeah, look, I think that they're in a fascinating position. I think they're a genuinely really good team, and I have loved watching them play so far this year.
Yeah, like I said, the defense is real. They're 4th in the NBA in net. I understand people will point to the schedule. I get it. I understand it. It's fair. I will just also say they've played shorthanded a lot of these games. And that's not even talking about Jaden Ivey, who I think it's worth mentioning did get assigned to the Motor City Cruise earlier this week, the Pistons G League affiliate. And I assume we see him. Listen, I'm not a reporter, guys. I don't know. But I'm assuming once that happens, we're getting into a progression where we see him, in the next couple weeks or something like that. Tobias Harris got assigned on Thursday as well. So they are starting to get a little bit healthier where you may be able to see this roster in its full and see what the real potential is.
All right, Bryce, before we move on to the Los Angeles Lakers, we got to shout out our friends over at Mizzen Main. Let's be honest, most dress clothes are uncomfortable, they're high maintenance, and they just don't feel great to wear. You spend too much time ironing, dry cleaning, and tugging at stiff fabrics, but that's why I love Mizzen Main. Mizzen Main makes classic menswear with performance fabrics, so it's effortless to look sharp and feel great. Mizzen Main actually invented the performance fabric dress shirt over 10 years ago, and since then, they've perfected it with modern fabrics. Mizzen Main's shirts and pants look refined, yet they're stretchy, lightweight, wrinkle-resistant, and completely machine washable. No ironing or dry cleaning required. It is timeless style you can invest in once and enjoy for years. That's why thousands of guys swear by Mizzen Main when they want to look great without the hassle. Look, I've been wearing Mizzen Main since before they were a sponsor. It is just such an easy look to throw on when you go out to the golf course. It is a great, great, great product. Right now, Mizzen Main is offering our listeners 20% off your first purchase at mizzenandmain.com, promo code GAME20. That's Mizzen, spelled Mizzen, and Main, MAIN.com, promo code GAME20 for 20% off. Mizzenandmain.com, promo code GAME20. And if you'd rather shop in person, you can find Mizzen and Main stores in select states. Bryce, LeBron James played for the first time this season last night against the Utah Jazz for the Los Angeles Lakers. What was your impression of LeBron James in his opener?
It was good. I think somebody tweeted this out, and I wasn't watching the game live, but whenever I went back to watch it, obviously got to see him, in his first game. He runs the floor in transition, and he gets this pass from Doncic. I think it was even after a make. He immediately attacks the defense off the dribble and then kicked to Jake LaRavia in the weak side corner for the catch and shoot 3-point make. And it was just like, this all works. It all fits together. It makes so much sense because we know LeBron can get out and run the floor even at his age. Like, there's still that athleticism to do that. And then even just his gravity, I thought they had some mid-post isolations where his gravity was showing up. He was drawing two defenders and generating good looks for his teammate. I think one was a weak side three. One, I think it was actually LaRavia, again, that made a baseline cut, got the catch maybe to the free throw line or something like that. He's so good catching on the move, like that momentum catch and downhill drive. So I thought all of the offensive stuff was really good. He had double-digit assists in his first game back. The idea of Doncic, Reeves, and him all on the floor together and the way the ball could move, like that's what I kind of just had fun watching them play, Sam. It looked like they were having fun playing in the way the ball can move and pop and just the quick decisions that they can make. And even something as simple as this. They ran a Doncic middle ball screen. I don't know if it was Hayes or Ayton. And you have Austin Reeves and LeBron James on the weak side, Sam. What is the defense supposed to do with that? As long as, other than just leave the big man open and hope Ayton messes it up or something. But you know what I mean? Like that's two guys that can knock down a shot on the weak side. That's two guys that are going to make a great decision on the weak side. So I thought it looked good in the first game, and I'm excited for this Lakers team. I thought they were a lot of fun to watch. And again, I feel like they have good vibes in terms of their on-court roster anyway, with how they played and the energy they had.
I completely agree that I thought the vibes were amazing. This Utah team is like kind of funky to play because they are incredibly dangerous offensively, but like they just don't really have any recourse for anybody on defense right now. It feels like to me without Walker Kessler, like it's just really hard. They're a very young team. You watch them defend now. It's just, it's pretty rough, especially in transition a lot of the time. So I don't know that I want to take away like major takeaways from anything that I saw. More than anything, I just enjoyed having LeBron back.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I found myself taking away. Like, it is cool that this guy is in his 23rd season. He last night, I don't know if you saw this, like he passed Reggie Miller.
I saw it
for all-time threes made.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you would have said when LeBron came into the league that he ends up making more threes than Reggie Miller, you would have been laughed out of the room. And that's where we're at now. It's just an incredibly cool thing to watch this guy where like he is taken more wear and tear on his body than anybody else in league history. He has played 5,900 career minutes in the NBA. That is the most all time, and that is just in the regular season. He has also played 59,000, not 100, 59,000 career minutes in the NBA in the regular season. And then he's also played an additional 12,000 minutes in the playoffs, which is also an all-time career record for anybody. He has the most points in the playoffs, most two-pointers made, most free throws made, most defensive rebounds, most steals, most turnovers. Like, the fact that LeBron is still playing in the way that he is, I just like can't. Part of my brain struggles with comprehending how cool it is, I guess. But it's very cool. And like with it being Utah and with it being the 15th game of the year, whatever it was for the Lakers last night, I kind of just found myself thinking, this is amazing that this guy is still playing. And I think I wanted to like just focus on that aspect of it more than the what does the future hold piece of it. We'll talk about that in a second for sure with the Lakers, but it was just awesome to see him back out there.
No, it truly is. And it's funny. Like he's almost normalized it to a point where we're going to get to a lot of players and just expect that they're going to do the same thing, right? Like, what do you mean you're retiring at 35? LeBron played till he was 41 plus or whatever, and that's what I was talking about. The dude is 41. And I'm talking about how he was pushing pace for this Lakers team and how good he looks catching on the move off the catch and getting downhill. And it truly should be set. Like, I know people do celebrate it. They understand how good he is, but the resume speaks for itself. You're right, Sam. It's enjoyable to see one of the greatest, if not the greatest for some people, players we've ever watched. And in year 41 or age 41, we're still getting to see him play the game of basketball. And in that game, it still looked like it was a pretty good level of it. I know he only had 11 points, but again, he had 12 assists. The defense is what it is. We'll see, like you said, we'll see what it looks like long term. But I find myself excited to see this is Luka Doncic in, I don't want to say best shape of his career. I don't know. Maybe it is, whatever. But like, Luka in Luka form, Austin Reeves playing the best basketball of his career under JJ Redick, and we add LeBron James into all of that. I just find myself getting really excited about watching these guys play together with that head coach and all in LA. It's just a lot of fun. I think the Jazz are kind of fun to watch too, because like Keontae George is just like crazy right now. Lowry's hooping right now, but I just found myself enjoying watching the Lakers play. And I don't know that that's always been the case. Whenever I've turned on a Lakers game the past few years, I thought it was a lot of fun, and LeBron had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And look, like where this goes now is anybody's guess. I mean, DeAndre Ayton has been very playable for them so far and has been quite useful. He's a number of 20 and 10 games for the Lakers. He's doing a great job of just rolling to the rim right now and finding shots. LeBron's passing last night, I thought, opened up a lot for them in terms of his ability to just make quick decisions. I felt like they played a little bit faster last night. Maybe not in terms of, I don't want to take anything away in terms of like tempo, just because it was the Jazz and the Jazz transition defense is kind of messy, but like it felt like even the ball was like whipping around quicker to me. And then you throw in like Jake LaRavia, who makes quick decisions as well. And he's another guy where the ball just like kind of whips around a lot of the time too. I do think they're going to be like genuinely very hard to guard is kind of where I'm at. Like, say whatever you will about, where they are on defense. Having Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, all of whom are capable for going for 40 on any given night, and all of whom can go for 10 assists on any given night, it is just kind of a hard guard at the end of the day. And then you have shooters around them. You do have a defender in Marcus Smart now. You do have a real like rim runner in Ayton potentially. They're 11-4 now with LeBron just getting back. I don't know. Like I am finding my interest piqued by the Lakers right now. And I do wonder if we end up seeing them end up quite high in the West.
I mean, yeah, Ayton shooting 70% from the field right now. And I would venture to guess a large reason why is since the first 3 years of his career, he's always been somewhere in the low 30% in terms of field goal attempts from 0 to 3 feet. He's up at 43%, which is the best since early in his career, his first few years. The other person I at least want to shout out, because I feel like he takes a lot of crap and is always getting traded. And I'm not saying that that's incorrect, but Rui is currently shooting 57-48. Now, I don't, there's other things. I think he is the one guy where the ball can stick at times and all of that. But if Rui would just lean into be a play finisher, run in transition, finish at the rim, catch in the corner, knock down, catch and shoot threes, and that, like, he could carve out a role for this team as opposed to always ending up in trade scenarios. But I think he's at least worth a shout out because honestly, he's the one guy that's shooting good from three right now. You want to talk about like potentially more upside offensively? LaRavia is at 34%. Reeves is at 33. Luka's at 32. Gabe Vincent's at 31. Only played 4 games. It's not, Smart is at 23. I'm not saying all of those guys are going to end up in the high 30s or something like that, but they're not shooting well from three. They're 23rd in the NBA right now. And so there might be some more upside and maybe adding another, LeBron James passing, decision-making, the ball moving and that energy in the ball. Maybe some of those shots start to become just a little bit easier and some more go down. So yeah, I don't know what it ends up being defensively. I think this is going to be a tough offense to guard night in and night out and into the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, the key is like, for instance, can you change Austin Reeves's like shot profile, right? Where this season he has taken 58 dribble 3-point jumpers and 40 catch and shoot 3-point jumpers. And on the jumpers off the dribble from three, he's shooting 29% on them. Like that's always been kind of the sneaky thing with Austin is he is not an amazing pull-up 3-point shooter, but he has always been a monster catch and shoot 3-point guy. So if you give him a chance to knock down catch and shoot threes because he's playing a little bit more off the ball, I would imagine you will see his efficiency spike even further. I really like the way that they staggered. A lot of this game for me is like process, right? So I loved the way that they staggered them. Like they had LeBron be the first starter to come out of the game last night. Then they brought him back with 2 minutes. They took out Austin Reeves. Then at the end of the first quarter, they took out Luka, brought Austin Reeves back in and played LeBron and Austin Reeves for a while and like that rotation together, right? And then, right around like the 6 or 5 minute mark of the second quarter, they took out LeBron again and, brought in, it was Luka and Austin Reeves running the show for a minute, right? Like I liked the way that JJ Redick staggered them and made sure that there were always 2 of those guys on the court at once, it felt like, so that you always had enough creation. But the key to that is making sure that you also have the depth pieces, which with LaRavia, with Rui right now, with Ayton and Hayes seemingly doing enough, certainly at the center position. Also with Marcus Smart now, who can defend. Gabe Vincent is back. You have Jared Vanderbilt as well. You have bodies that you can throw at problems now, which is something they just didn't have last year. And that is interesting to me. And can you figure out a way to maybe engineer a trade to go get somebody who's more of a two-way guy? Whereas like Rui right now to me is like, play finisher, offensive player.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart is a super high level defender. You want to find a guy who can kind of bring both of those things together right now, in my opinion. We'll see if they can go find that on the trade market somewhere. I think that they do probably need it to be a real title contender in a significant way. But if they are able to go get it, I think that they can be a real title contender. So I am enthusiastic about the Lakers is where I'm at right now.
And it seems like they're going to be in a position where it makes sense, right? Like they're going to, if this continues the way we've seen, they're going to be competing not at the top of the West because the OKC is probably going to run away with that. But you're going to be able to tell yourself, hey, you can talk yourself into we have as good a chance as anybody to compete with the Thunder in the West if we go acquire that. I don't think you can say that right now, but if they continue to play at this level, you'll have a record and a sample that says it is reasonable for us to go make a move and acquire that player. And then now we can make a run in the playoffs and see what we do against the Thunder in the conference finals.
So Bryce, we've had some breaking news while we've been recording over the last like 40 minutes or so. And the news is that LaMelo Ball, according to Kelly Iko and Yahoo Sports, my former colleague over at The Athletic, Kelly, LaMelo Ball has grown frustrated with the organization and is open to a trade. League sources tell Yahoo Sports. On Wednesday night, LaMelo didn't really play the last 5 minutes of their game against the Pacers. If you watch that one, it was interesting, at least. He is not shooting super well. Obviously, we loved his effort to start the year this year. We thought that like the defensive effort was a little bit better. We thought that, he was continually doing a little bit more of a bit more of the little things, but then obviously he gets hurt again and misses, what was it, like 6 games or so. And I don't know, like these situations are always hard because you look at LaMelo now, and I think that what I am struggling with here is that he has grown frustrated with the organization and is open to a trade. If I was the Hornets, I would have grown frustrated with LaMelo having not played enough games throughout the course of his career recently. If you look at his last 4 years, 36 games, 22 games, 47 games last season, and then this season, he has played 9 of a potential 15 games. Like, I don't know, man. Like, if I was LaMelo, I would be frustrated that I'm not healthy more than I would be frustrated with the organization in any way, shape, or form. So when you see this report, like I struggle with this one a little bit, to be honest with you.
Listen, we did this when we did the 2020 NBA draft redraft, and I threw out all the names of players that have played more games than LaMelo Ball. I will just throw one at people. Saddiq Bey has played more games than LaMelo Ball.
And he missed an entire season with an ACL injury.
That's right. He's played more games by 66 and has played 1,500 more minutes, even if you want to go to the minutes thing. So listen, I think sometimes people get mad when you bring up the games played thing with LaMelo. And I'm like, no, it's fair. Like, of all things you bring up, it's fair. Here's my quick take. And like, as you said, like you sent Andrew a text about getting a LaMelo thing ready. And I was like, oh shoot, what happened? So I'm like scrolling Twitter to try to figure it out. So I've had about 10, 15 minutes to think about this while we were talking about other stuff. My gut reaction, Sam, is trade him. I want to see him on another team. That's where I'm at with the LaMelo Ball experience in the NBA, because LaMelo Ball supporters will scream at me that he's never had a supporting cast. Perfect. Send him somewhere to a team that's going to have more talent around him theoretically and all of that. And let's find out. So I'm ready for it. Like, I am ready to see LaMelo Ball somewhere else. And let's see if he can integrate himself into it. Like, and I want him to go to a decent team, Sam. I don't want him to get traded to like the Wizards or something like that. With all due respect to the Wizards, love what they're doing right now with their young players. Like, send him somewhere where there's like an infrastructure of some sort there, another star of some kind, and let's see what it looks like. And I'm not even saying he won't figure it out. I want to see it with my own eyes, because I have a lot of people tell me all the time that they are certain that this guy is an all-star and can help and contribute to winning, and all he needs is better talent around him. So let's go for it. Let's see it. And if I'm Charlotte, let's make the trade and let's build around Con Knipple, hopefully Brandon Miller, and some other young guys moving forward.
Yeah, like, and look, it's a report.
Correct.
We'll see if LaMelo comments on it at some point. Within the report, Kelly says league sources say the front office is increasingly hesitant about cementing Ball as a long-term foundational piece, has become disillusioned with the 24-year-old, and is open to moving him. So it feels like there's traction both ways here. According to Kelly, at least. We'll find out if this ends up, coming to fruition in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, these are ones where like it's hard for me, because I think people know that like I've been fairly skeptical on LaMelo as like your number one guy and is, Charlotte's number one guy particularly. I've always respected the talent. It's just that he doesn't play.
Yeah.
And if he's not going to play all that much, I don't know how another team feels particularly confident making a move for him. So like a team that could do this in theory, right, is Milwaukee. Like, if you're Milwaukee, you have an interesting situation. He fits into their idea of trying to surround Giannis with all sorts of space, be able to play up tempo with all their guys. Like, can you imagine LaMelo spraying the ball out to AJ Green and Ryan Rollins, and then you have the defensive infrastructure with Rollins, Giannis, and Miles Turner there. But
hold up, Sam. If I'm the Hornets, I am not trading LaMelo Ball to Milwaukee and not getting Ryan Rollins back.
But why?
Right?
Why? You're probably right. But would you rather have Ryan Rollins for this year and next year at $8 million, or would you rather have LaMelo for 3 years, $130 million?
Well, this gets
based on how they played this year.
And I guess this gets into the issue to me, and I already see people tweeting about it, and we're going to, like, what is the value of a guy who's only played the amount of games we've talked about and is on the hook? Like, he has already gotten paid. And, it's 40 million, almost 41, and then 43 and a half, and then 46. You're locked into 3 years of it. So you better be sure, and you better feel comfortable and confident with the injury stuff.
Yeah. Like, is it Brooklyn? Brooklyn just drafted 3 point guards. It'd be wild if they traded for.
They also play Drake Powell with the ball in his hands all the time. Every time I turn on the Nets, it's also Drake Powell with the ball in his hands. I'm like, well, we took 5 guys who apparently you guys thought was best with the ball in their hands, because that's what all 5 guys do. But back to Milwaukee real quick. I didn't mean to stop that. Yes, do it. Yeah, that is exactly what I'm talking about. Because I would love to see LaMelo in that situation, because now there's no more excuses. Like, let's see, you're playing with Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the best players in the NBA. Can you be the second option, whatever, and do the things necessary defensively, on the boards, passing, all of that? And maybe he could. You're right. He has the talent to do it. But yes, give me that. Just as a fan of this game, Sam, I would be fascinated, absolutely fascinated to watch that play out for the rest of this year and into next year and beyond. And here's the thing. That is a crazy move for Milwaukee, because if you get that one wrong, I think we all know what would be coming immediately following it, which would be Giannis asking to leave.
Yeah, I think that you can't get that deal wrong. I think that the price point here is going to be lower than what people expect. It's kind of the reality. I think we're looking at what Kyrie got traded for to Dallas.
So what's the Milwaukee, if I remember correctly?
Sam? Yeah, you'd have to include Kuzma to make the money work.
Correct.
I'm trying to think of. Even a way that works. I don't even know if you could make that work financially, to be honest with you.
It's 38. Kuzma gets you need 16 more. So Kuzma and Porter probably get you close, right?
It probably does at the deadline. Yeah. They're obviously very restricted in what they can do right now, but Kuzma, Porter, and it might have to be Kuzma and Bobby Portis, to be honest with you, to make the money work at the deadline. It can't even happen right now, but yeah, it's hard. I think that you're looking at a situation where it's more what Kyrie got traded for, where it's Kyrie went to Dallas for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2029 first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. I think that that's closer to the price point than them getting back 3 first-round picks and an interesting player, is what I would say. Because I think that, again, it has nothing to do with anything off the court for LaMelo. It has nothing to do with anything in terms of even his play, although his play this year, he's now shooting 39, 30, 87, and getting to the line 5 times a game, turning it over 3.7 times per game with 9.6 assists, of course. But, and he started out shooting a little bit better than this. His last 3 games since he's been back have not been great in terms of his shooting percentages. But does that mean he's playing when he's not at 100% health or fitness? You know what I mean? And that's a whole other thing, right? So I don't know, man. I think that because of his health issues, it would be very hard for a team to give up a significant number of assets for him, is what I would say.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I was just looking through the Milwaukee one. Yeah, Spot Track is letting me trade picks that I don't know that they are actually allowed to trade. But that move can't happen until the deadline, because Portis I shouldn't say the deadline, until December 15th. Because most of their players are locked in till at least then, including Portis. But Portis and Kuzma is enough.
Is it something that Toronto would look at? Maybe.
No, don't mess with that right now, man. That's the other really
That's
fun
the thing,
thing to
like-
watch in the NBA.
Like if I'm Toronto, I don't know if I want to mess with what I've got going right now. And if I'm Charlotte, like, do I want to trade him to the West? Maybe if I could, possibly. Like, is it something?
I was
Like, could
giggling earlier
Portland
because
look
I
at
was
this?
thinking, who'd you say?
Portland?
I was giggling earlier because Memphis kept popping into my head. I just thought that would be funny.
I don't think that this feels like a Memphis.
No, it absolutely does not. Like, and obviously there would be a corresponding move that would happen there. Just like, how funny would it be if Ja got traded and then LaMelo was the replacement?
Like, could you do something around Jeremy Grant and LaMelo Ball where Portland sends back like a pick and a young player or something? Or maybe even it's just like 2 picks because like they have maybe they have like non crazy valuable picks or something.
Yeah. I don't know.
They at least have the defensive infrastructure.
They do.
So,
I was going to say he doesn't fit like but now you're trying to work around him and Shaden. We haven't even seen Scoot this year. What about Minnesota? I feel like every time a point guard comes up, people want to bring up Minnesota.
Really, really hard with the second apron to execute something like that. I mean, here's the team. I know the team, and you know what I'm going to say.
If you bring up the Sacramento Kings, I am walking.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
It's funnier than that. The Pelicans.
Gross. Stop. No.
What if they try to do like a win now deal in order to make this pick not be as bad that they're going to send to Atlanta? And it's something, you know, like, I don't even think it'd be Fears, to be honest. Like, I don't know if he has that kind of like value, but I mean, maybe it would have to be because I don't think they're going to move Derek Queen for him, right? Like, is it like DeJounte's money and something for LaMelo and like something of value for LaMelo? And again, what I say has nothing to do with LaMelo's talent. The guy's an unbelievable player. It really is just the health where I think teams are not going to be wildly interested in this.
Yeah. Kind of like Fears so far, man. I do too. As much as we've like haven't loved the process of how all that went down, and I'm in the middle of watching the game against the Nuggets from Wednesday night, the 30-point performance by Queen. I find myself kind of intrigued by those guys right now, even if, you know, again, if I don't love the process of some of it, that doesn't mean those guys can't end up still being good basketball players. And everybody knows how much we love Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. This is where it's hard, Sam. And I know it sounds like you've tried to say it multiple times now. We're not trying to just crap on LaMelo. We know how talented he is. It's a little bit like the Zion thing where it's, you know, AD is a different level than these guys in terms of like throughout his career, what he's proven and even availability. But, you know, like, what is the value of a guy you can't trust to be on the courts? You know what I mean?
That's
like it's so hard. And I don't know. And then like, do you want to mess? I think that's what's hard right now too, is the teams that are good right now. Why are you messing up that chemistry? If I'm the Raptors, why am I messing this up? I'm throwing it in everybody's face, including myself, who said that this starting 5 didn't make sense. And what is this roster construction? And they're second in the East at time of recording. Why am I messing that chemistry up for really any player right now? Let me play. And I think this becomes way more clear 25 days from now, when it's probably more realistic to actually happen anyway, when at least some of the league becomes available to be traded on that December 15th date.
Final weirdo, stupid trade idea with LaMelo. Is there something around Anthony Davis and LaMelo?
So Dallas was the team I was going to throw at you, depending on what they want to do with Kyrie. I thought about it. I didn't workshop it all the way through, but maybe.
See, like, again, like I think I would just go a different direction if I was Dallas and I was moving Anthony Davis. Because like Anthony Davis will definitely have a trade market. And maybe you could make the case that LaMelo is the most singularly talented player that you could get. But with Cooper, I think that I would just want a more reliable asset that I know is going to be on the court and help him develop.
Again, I feel like I'm just cackling, but the idea of essentially you turn Luka Doncic into LaMelo Ball is just funny to me, especially with especially I know he's not there anymore, but especially what was the reasoning behind that trade? Defense wins championships and availability, and you turn Luka Doncic into LaMelo Ball. I can't help but find some whatever in that.
The final thing here that I will just bring up is these guys that struggle to stay healthy. It just, when you're building an organizational like structure around them, and when you are, and they are highly paid, so you kind of have to make them something of a centerpiece, right? Because they're just taking up a significant portion of your salary cap. I think it is very difficult to build a sustainable culture on the court in terms of what you're trying to do on a night in, night out basis when you have like a star player coming in and out of the lineup in the way that LaMelo has throughout the course of his career. And again, I am not speaking to anything off the court. I am not speaking to anything in terms of even his style of play. But I think that it is just very difficult to build a real like chemistry and culture when your highest paid player and the guy that you know, presumably are in some level building things around just is not around enough, frankly. And LaMelo has not been around. And that would be really difficult if I was a team that was looking to acquire him. And that's ultimately why I think like Charlotte fans are going to be unfortunately disappointed with the price point. And it's why I wonder if they just decide we're just going to ride this out a little bit until we see where this goes. If you're the Charlotte front office, because I just don't know if the market is going to be quite as valuable as what people expect.
Yeah, no, it's right. It's such a huge part of the calculation, and beyond anything else, I don't like, I'm not in depth enough with medicals to know what you can look for and all of that, but you would just have to feel a lot more comfortable about those than what we've seen over the last 3 or 4 seasons with him.
Yeah. No, I think it's right. Okay. So Bryce, let's talk about where the All-Star picture is as of today.
Okay.
Right. As of November 20th, when we're recording this, we've not seen the games that have occurred on November 20th. I haven't even really looked at the schedule to see what games are tonight yet, to be honest. That's just one of the things I'm going to pop on whenever the games start. And I kind of want to talk through what the All-Star picture looks like and how this happens and everything. So, you still name 12 players from the East and 12 players from the West, is my understanding. That is also your understanding, correct, Bryce?
I think so, yes. Yes, that is my understanding.
You also now have a situation where it is positionless as well.
Yes.
But from a perspective on how they're going to play the game, they're going to do 3 teams. Each quarter is a round robin game. 2 of the teams American, 1 of the teams international. Which means that, say there are 10 international players that get named, 12 in the East, 12 in the West, and it's 10 internationals, 14 Americans, something like that. Then Adam Silver will add 2 Americans and not take away any of the international players, right? So we could end up with a circumstance which more than 24 All-Stars are named, which for me and you, this is something we've been calling for years, because the talent pool is deeper than ever in the NBA. The game is more heliocentric now than ever. Frankly, there are more players in the NBA now than there ever have been previously. It is much harder now to make the All-Star game than it was in 1975 or 80, when they still had 12-man rosters with a diluted talent pool comparatively. it is much more difficult to make the All-Star team now. This is a conversation I know JJ Redick has had on his show before, and I completely agree with him. I love this, that we're in a circumstance where I think that this year we are probably going to end up with more than 24 All-Stars getting named, even before injuries occur. Bryce, thoughts?
No, sorry. I thought you were going to keep going. I was organizing my list of names. No, I agree. Like I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it. There's guys are deserving of this. Like, like I'm not overly, whenever I talk about players, it's not always like, well, he was this many time All-Star, or he's an All-Star. When I say All-Star, it's kind of just in a way of, hey, he's a top 25 to 30 player in the league. Whenever I say he's playing at an All-Star level, Denny Avdia, I have it littered in my notes, playing at an All-Star level right now. I don't even know if that means he is going to be one, but it's just a reference point for me whenever I talk about All-Stars. So I don't get overly worried or bent out of shape about guys that make it or don't make it. But sure, like the more guys, there's so much talent in this league. We've been talking about it, that I'm fine with it. Like I'm cool with it. I think that this, just in general, Sam, I think this structure is going to at least get me to tune in. We'll see how competitive the players take it. Maybe this world versus the US thing will drive that a little bit, but I'm at least going to tune in early whenever the time comes to see what it looks like. But it does put a little bit of a twist in terms of, like you said, not just because of injuries, but if you end up with only 7 international players off the first 24, then you got to go get another one, or vice versa, whichever way it works out.
Yep. So I just kind of want to lay out where I have the All-Star picture right now. Right. And tell me if I'm wrong in terms of these names.
Okay.
In the Eastern Conference, and I just say yes or no whenever I say these names.
Okay.
Giannis.
Yes.
Maxey.
Yes.
Cade Cunningham.
Yes.
Donovan Mitchell.
Yes.
Jalen Brunson.
Yes.
So the next 3 names I have: Jalen Johnson.
Okay.
Scotty Barnes.
Yes. I think Scotty, I would say before Jalen, but sure.
Jaylen Brown.
Yes.
So that's 8. And then I have Josh Giddey at 9.
I had him. Yeah. Because yes.
I mean, they're sitting there at 500. He's averaging a triple double right now, basically. Like, should probably be there.
I have my list divided by international and American, and like when you look in the East in terms of international, like his name definitely pops very quickly.
Yeah.
So,
but the reason that I'm doing it East versus West is that they do East West first. Is my understanding.
Yeah.
So
that's 8. 9. That's Jalen Johnson.
That's
9. 9.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the final 5 names I have here: Karl Anthony Towns, who has been really good to start the year. It's just like hit or miss depending on game by game basis. Franz Wagner, Bam Adebayo, who would be here if he hadn't missed a bunch of games.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I think Bam has been awesome to start the year. It's just like he's played half the games so far.
Correct.
Jalen Duren, Evan Mobley. Do you have any other names?
Nope. That was all of them. The only other one, just to give like the Raptors some love, is I did write down Brandon Ingram, just because they are second in the East at time of recording. And he's probably been their second best. I don't know. Not probably. He's been their second best player. And right now he's scoring the ball, 20 points a game, and been really good from the mid range. Yeah. And so like he was a name I at least put down, but that's literally my list. I didn't put Bam on there just because of the games missed, but I agree with what you've said about him. So
the other name here is Pascal Siakam. Siakam has also.
I didn't know what to do with him, Sam.
Genuinely awesome this year. It's just
Sam, I don't often feel bad for NBA players. When I watch the Pacers play, I genuinely feel bad for Pascal Siakam, and that's not me trying to throw shade at the rest of his team. You can just tell the frustration, and it just looks so different than what he played on last year. I feel awful for him, but he's still having a good year. I just didn't know if you put him in an all-star game when I think now they've won 2 games.
They're 2-13 after last night.
Yeah.
He is averaging 25, 7 and 5.
Yeah.
On 46, 35 70, taking 8 free throw attempts per game. Nothing that is wrong with the Pacers has anything to do
Absolutely not.
with Pascal Siakam. He has been genuinely really good this year. It's just that I think he's going to lose any tiebreaker with any of these other guys because they've won 2 games and they're 2-13. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then I think Franz has clearly been Orlando's best player over Paolo so far this year. He's averaging more points. He is I get it that I think that Paolo is still at the top of scouting reports when teams play Orlando. I just think Franz has pretty clearly been better when I watched them this year, in part because Paolo's shooting has just been not quite as good, even though we have seen a bit of an uptick there recently as they've gone on this run. I think it is very possible that Paolo gets into this conversation as the season goes. And I think I would frankly expect that he ends up maybe not even just in this conversation, but probably on the team by the end of it. But we're doing as of right now. And as of right now, I would not have him as an all-star.
Yeah, I think picking one or the other, I think through this, Franz has played a few more games as well. We know he's better on the defensive end. I'm always the Paolo is the best player on that team and the star and all of that. I've also been a little frustrating with Paolo's passing early in the year. So I went with Franz as of November 20th as well. I'm with you. I think when we do this 2 months from now, I fully expected it to flip back to Paolo, or they go on a run and potentially it's both of them. But right now, I went with Franz as well.
So that is 5 guys for 3 spots, basically in the East. And we'll talk about that in a second. I want to make a point with this near the end. In the West, same deal. Yes or no? Jokic,
Yes.
Luka,
Yes.
Shea.
The West is really good. Yes.
Victor.
Yes.
Şengün.
Yes.
KD.
Yes.
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
Stephen Curry.
Absolutely.
Devin Booker.
Been incredible.
Lauri Markkanen.
Yes.
Look, again, I understand the point of the Jazz being 5-9 right now, but A, they're 5-9. They're not 2-13. And B, Lowry has been better than Siakam this year, even. He has been a monster this season.
He's awesome. Yeah, I mean, he's been incredible. He's 5th in the NBA in scoring. One of 6 guys averaging 30 a game, and he's doing it on real efficiency right now. He's really, really good.
Okay. So that is 10. 2 guys for, or 2 spots for this group. Kenny Avdia.
That's
Jamal Murray, Austin Reeves.
Yep.
Chet Holmgren.
Yep.
Aaron Gordon.
Okay.
James Harden.
Yep.
Am I missing anybody that you have?
I threw out Julius Randle as a name as well.
Okay. I'm good with Randle as a name too. Randle, I think, has been quite good this year. He started a little bit slowly, but has really turned it on. They're 10-5 now. He's averaging 25, 7, and 6. This is a name that 100% needs to be here. And that's on me for not writing him down in my initial batch here. So that means we have two spots for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Aaron Gordon 7. I think we can remove Gordon pretty quickly here because I think Jamal has been better. So 2, 4, 6 guys. So what I would implore the coaches to do when they name these names and they do these teams, name the international guys and give yourself the ability to just get more of these guys in. In the East, just name Franz 100%, just put him on immediately. And then you get the additional spot. And in the West, make it so that these last 2 guys are Denny and Jamal, let's say, Denny Avdia and Jamal Murray. And then you get 2 extra spots and you can name Austin Reeves and Chet Holmgren or Julius Randle, whatever you want to do, right?
Wait, so if they go over on the international, what do they do though?
Then those guys are just all-stars and there's an 11-person team potentially.
Oh, okay. And then you fill in with the rest. Okay, got it.
Yeah. And then you fill in with the rest. So here, if they do
Okay.
what my immediate reaction would be is you go Franz, Duran, and Cat, let's say, in the East. And then you go Denny and Jamal as the last two names in the West, because you have in Giannis 1. Let's see here. I need to get all of the international guys. Franz 2, Jokic 3, Luka 4, Shea 5, Lowry 6, Victor 7, Şengün 8, Denny 9, Jamal 10, and I believe that I had one more, Giddey 11.
Let's say there's 11 international names that we've brought up. So now you're going to steal 3 extra spots for probably for, but they're going to have to come from the East, right?
See, that's my thing. Like, do they have to come from the East or do they have to come from the West? Even if they do, one spot would have to come from the East because of Americans, because of Franz, and then 2 spots would have to come from the West, which is more loaded anyway.
Yeah.
So then you get, for me, it'd probably be Reeves and Chet or Reeves and Julius Randle, like whoever you want to put in, right?
Yeah.
So I would hope that the coaches and the folks doing this defer to the international guys in order to make this a bit more of an inclusive all-star game process at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, I love it.
That's what we should be doing here.
No, it's a fun exercise to go through it just to see, one, to again highlight the talent in the NBA and the type of names you would be leaving out of the All-Star game right now. But yeah, I feel like this format has now allowed people to, I don't want to say manipulate the voting in a way to get more players on, even without the injury. Like say, some of these guys are going to be injured and all of that anyway, but there's probably also a couple other names that are going to be awesome over the next few months that are going to put themselves into the conversation.
And genuinely, I do hope that they go about it this way. Like, the All-Star game should have more than 24 names getting named at the end of the day. That is truly how I feel. And I hope that the coaches, who probably also want this to be a more inclusive process, because, like, why not go about doing it this way too? I think that'd be a really, really smart way to look at the All-Star game this year. And look, like, we can get a lot of these guys in. We can make this a more fun process for everybody involved if we go about this the right way. And then while we're doing this also, hopefully people are seeing, kind of where the All-Star picture sits right now as of time of recording. And, like, look, LeBron is probably going to be in here as well. Like, let's be honest. I would imagine that they will probably try to include LeBron in some way, shape, or form. He'll probably win fan voting, I would imagine, because it's LeBron. But, like, as of right now, like, probably shouldn't be an All-Star. So I hope that like kind of gives a full picture of what trying to build the All-Star game rosters looks like for people this year.
Well, it's a nice little primer ahead of, my guess is maybe next Thursday or next Sunday, whenever I would guess we have to do our quarter of the season awards. It was a nice exercise to go through and talk about where people are at right now. And then, because that stuff is coming in terms of all NBA stuff, like any name that wasn't mentioned there, isn't obviously, but a lot of the names that were are going to be part of hashing out and trying to decide between on that episode.
Yep, that is right. Okay. Bryce, the final thing that we've got here. So we got an awesome question from one of our YouTube subscribers, Dowell Harmon. He asked, my girlfriend doesn't really know or care about the NBA, but told me she'd watch 3 games start to finish with me this year. What players, teams, or matchups would you recommend for trying to get a casual, NBA viewer or somebody who doesn't really watch or care about basketball to enjoy their time watching basketball? And I thought this was just like an amazing question. I thought this was so cool to try and like figure out who are the people that you would try to introduce a non-NBA fan to make them become a fan of the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, the number one player, the number one player in team was easy to me. I shouldn't say the number one player was Steph Curry. I think
was my number one player too.
I think he's the most relatable because, and this is no shot at anybody else, he doesn't just physically dominate the court in a way that can be off-putting to quote unquote casual fans. I think that the physical dominance and stature of a Giannis, of even Victor, can be off-putting to fans that aren't, really watching the nuances and the details and all of that. And I just think that Steph Curry and the way he plays is the most likely aesthetically pleasing to any random human on earth. So I would always start with the Steph Curry game.
Yeah.
And probably the Warriors in general, other than Draymond, can also be off-putting to some fans, but I don't think that would happen in, the first game.
I think that's probably right. I think Steph is definitely the name here to me, though. Like 100%. Like if you get a game where Stephen Curry is just going absolutely nuclear and drills like 5 threes in a 4-minute span, I think that you have a basketball fan for life at that point, because there's just nothing more joyous on a basketball court than Steph like drilling threes, dancing around the court, and just like having an absolute blast, and then just coming down and he's going to fire. And it's just, how does he do it? There's just nothing cooler to me on a basketball court than Steph. So the Warriors are definitely one team. I would say Victor for me is number 2.
Sure.
Honestly. I love watching that dude play so much. Just so much. Like he changes basketball so drastically and so in such an interesting way, and is just such an interesting character, because I think that while yes, there are players that like physically dominate the game, he is somebody that does so with skill while also having the physical tools. And on top of it, like he is an alien in a sea of aliens in the NBA. You know what I mean? Like all of these dudes are incredibly like physically gifted on some level. You have to be a professional athlete. You especially have to be in the NBA, given the height requirement. He's just a totally different ballgame in so many ways. And seeing him, I think particularly like in the gold medal match this summer against Team USA, like with the way that he played, I thought that was incredibly fun. So like part of this is why when we talked about Spurs Warriors from last week on the Monday show, like that game is like one of the games I would want to like tell people, go watch one of those teams. Like go watch these two teams play. Like they play a fun brand of basketball, both of them. They're really exciting. I really enjoy it.
So the game I came up with was actually Warriors Suns. So can I hash this out for you real fast?
This is insane.
So Steph Curry, obviously, right? But then on the other side, you have Devin Booker playing at the level he's playing at right now. And he has a aesthetically pleasing way of playing the game of basketball as well. Like, I think he has a beautiful jump shot and all of that. Like, didn't he date one of the Kardashians or something too? Or like one of those? So it's like maybe the girlfriend, wife, or whatever.
Crossover.
Would know like who he is just in general. I know that happens with my wife sometimes. And then the other thing is the Suns aren't so good defensively. They're not like the Thunder or the Rockets or the Pistons that are going to beat Steph up. So Steph's going to have room to maneuver around the court and all of that. Neither of these teams is a huge free throw rate team. So you're not getting that. And you might get a Draymond Green, Dylan Brooks fight, which would be like just, depending on like I thought about this with my wife. Would she enjoy that? Now she played college hoops. So like maybe this is a little different, but it's like you watch Steph Curry run around and drop 45. You watch Devin Booker, who you already have this crossover understanding of the name. Neither team has a parade to the free throw line. And you might get a Dylan Brooks, Draymond Green fight. I'm like, that's a perfect game one for his significant other.
You've honestly kind of sold me. That's not bad. It's not bad. The other team I had here is Denver, because Denver has Jokic. And I think Jokic's game is so unique in that he does not look like a normal basketball player, frankly.
Yeah.
But also like just thinks through the game. Like when Laura watches games with me and watches Jokic, like her jaw drops at times. Like she's like, oh, like I don't understand how he saw that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't understand like how this guy is destroying. I don't understand how he, and like Laura still plays netball. Like she plays a game of like with a ball on essentially a basketball court. We're trying to shoot ball into the rim to score, and has to figure out angles and has to figure out how to, you know, get the ball up and down the court. And even she is just like, this person is like unbelievable in the way that he thinks through these things.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've taken people to their first NBA games with Jokic in Denver, and they came away just like pretty casual NBA fans, and they just come away so impressed with what he can do. I have who are the teams we should tell him to stay away from outside of just the bad teams, right? Like,
yeah, the Pelicans. No,
my thing is, you and I love the Rockets. I'm not sure if I wanted Ranny to start watching games with me. I would say, hey, babe, let's sit down and watch the Rockets, because I don't know that she would appreciate it as much as we think they're awesome and do even OKC, because there's a likelihood they just blow somebody out and Shea goes to the free throw line and they rough it up for the other team. And I don't ask Randy to watch Pistons games because I don't know that she would enjoy it the way I do, breaking it down. So outside of those, are there other teams, just the way they're kind of styled, that you would venture from?
Yeah, like the bully ball teams are teams where I'm like often not wildly enthused to even watch sometimes myself. Like the Rockets, I love watching the Rockets because they're my sweet like baby boys and I love them so much. But like, you know, I'm trying to think of like some of the decent teams that I would say stay away from.
Like, are the Knicks enjoyable? Like, because I tried to do a
Knicks
matchup because it's Madison Square Garden, but I'm like, is she going to enjoy watching Jalen Brunson do what Jalen Brunson does? I don't know.
It's just a lot of fouling, right? With the Knicks, and look, like so far, they are not taking many free throws per game. Like it's somewhat like weird, honestly, with the fact that they have Brunson, but like Brunson and Towns are really the only guys averaging free throws for that team right now. I think you might be able to get away with it with them, to be honest, but I'm not totally sure. Honestly, a team that I really think like if you could get Chicago as the B side, for a game, like if you could do like Chicago, and I'll say this, I kind of wonder if the Lakers are a team that are really fun.
Yeah,
with all of LeBron, Luka, and Reeves, plus some of the other smart guys they have on the team now. Like they actually might be really fun to watch. Plus you have the idea of like LeBron being out there and what might be his final season. You know, there's just a lot of exciting things, but also I am cognizant of the fact that like Luka for some people can be, you know, kind of rough to watch, but I don't think he's been as rough to watch this year, to be honest.
So Lakers Nuggets was my other actual matchup, like two teams, because you have Jokic and Luka, and then obviously everything else with LeBron and all of that. I tried to do a Knicks one and just couldn't quite get there. Can I throw a team at you that I don't think it works because they don't have the star and like the guy that just individually is, but Miami plays like a fun style right now offensively in terms of playing, you know, exceptionally fast. They're not setting a bunch of ball screens and all of that. Like there's a bunch of movement. But I couldn't get there with like, there's not a name on that roster that that I feel like that she would be excited about or would latch onto. Because I do think part of the NBA, if you want to generate a fan, is what we said at the start, which is, can you find the player for them to latch onto? Whenever I was a kid, I latched onto Allen Iverson, and it's what drove my love for the game of basketball. And so I think it has to be a team where she might latch onto a certain player. And I think we've probably brought up some of the names of players that are most aesthetically pleasing.
One name we didn't bring up is Anthony Edwards. Like Anthony Edwards plays like a pretty fun brand of basketball
and has like a personality to boot, right?
Yep. Like the Timberwolves were a team I thought of for sure. Yeah, I think that the second matchup I like that is Denver and the Lakers. I think that's really good. So we've got Golden State, San Antonio. We've got Denver and the Lakers. I mean, are we just going all West here? Or we've got Golden State, Phoenix.
Denver and
the Lakers.
So maybe San Antonio, Minnesota or something. I tried to do an East matchup, Sam, and that's why I went to the Knicks and I couldn't find the matchup to go with it.
Maybe San Antonio, Chicago.
Okay.
Because Chicago, I think, would be really good as a B-side because they play super up tempo. They're kind of wild with, some of their decisions, but they also shoot the ball and they're really, really fun to watch. Like something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Another player that I personally find really enjoyable to watch I love watching Tyrese Maxey right now, Sam. Like I love watching his, I don't know that
I do too.
I don't know that he carries the same of the guys we've brought up, but he's so fast. There's a lot of shooting that goes along with his as well. He's taking over 9 threes a game, knocking down shots. Like
and to be clear, like the very obvious team here that the question was this season. If Tyrese Halliburton was healthy, the Indiana Pacers are like 1,000% on this list.
Yes. Yes.
But because he's not healthy, there's an issue there.
Yeah. If this was 12 months, if this was 9 months ago, they would very much be the answer in terms of what we're searching for on the Eastern side of things.
Yeah. So I agree with you. Maybe it's the Sixers. The Sixers are pretty fun to watch. The other team I thought about was the Bucks. Like, what if you did a, Victor Giannis matchup, and the Bucks play like a pretty fun style of basketball as well. Like they're 5 out, well spaced. You have Giannis like driving downhill all the time. Defensively, they're not like amazing, right? They're 29th in free throw attempt rate at this point. So maybe this is it. Maybe it's San Antonio, Milwaukee for the Victor Wembanyama matchup with Giannis.
Yeah, I just think that I could be off here. Obviously, the Nuggets are good. Some of these teams are good defensively. I think you just have to stay away from the teams that just really are just so physical, and it can turn into a slog that way. But this was fun. Whenever you text this, you don't often come to me with, hey, a YouTube comment brought up a topic or a question that I really want to talk about. So shout out the person that dropped this one in the YouTube comments, because it was a lot of fun. I obviously spent some real time thinking about it. I'll be honest. Here's the truth, Sam. I spent more time prepping this answer than I did anything for the Pistons segment, because I didn't need to do any work on that. I spent a lot of time trying to hash through this question.
Yeah. Also, real quick, while we're here, LaMelo Ball has commented on Kelly's report in Yahoo. He has simply commented with a clown emoji to retweet the tweet. So there you go.
Awesome.
So maybe nothing on LaMelo. Maybe he does not get moved, and maybe this is just where we're at with LaMelo. Look, again, I think my take on the whole LaMelo thing is that they're probably I think they might just be stuck together for a minute as well. Even say they're happy together and that's the reality. Cool. Even if they're not, they might be stuck together for a minute just because I don't know if the value is there at the end of the day. So, maybe this is a situation where we've just got to be in a circumstance where we're just kind of rolling with it and that's it.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, no, I don't think any trade is going to be imminent there with LaMelo. That's kind of my theory on this.
Sure.
So, okay. This is all I've got. Bryce, tell the people where they can find your work. Tell the people what's going on.
Yeah, at Motor City Hoops on Twitter, on Blue Sky, Motor City Hoops Substack. If your favorite team plays the Pistons, I'll have game notes and analysis after that for free over there. The Pistons Pulse podcast. And then, of course, the Game Theory Substack, where Sam's cranking out all sorts of video breakdowns and I'm contributing whenever I get a chance. Make sure you guys are subscribed to that. And then the Game Theory podcast with Sam Vecenie right here.
Go to the Substack, gametheorysamv.substack.com, gametheorysamv.substack.com. Yeah, go there. Hit the subscribe button. videos on AJ DeBanza, on Kingston Flemings, on Jalen Duran, on Andrei Stojakovic, on Braden Smith from this weekend from Bryce. We've got a lot of stuff up there that you can go watch and break down on tape. It is fun. So go subscribe over there. We will be back later this weekend on Sunday. Sunday won't be awards. I know that. Probably just be takeaways from this weekend and week in basketball. That's all we've got. Until next time, we'll talk soon.